Maryland lottery officials announced that 3 individuals will share winnings of the $656 million Mega Millions jackpot. We'll have the details on the winners. And George Zimmerman is speaking out for the first time since the killing of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin on February 26th. We'll tell you what he said. Plus, we now know the 911 calls from the F-18 jet that crashed into an apartment building on Friday. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Duke Carter. Those stories plus Mike Potter with the forecast coming up on your TV 20 News at noon. Good afternoon. 3 Maryland public school employees spent $20 each to buy 60 Mega Million tickets, and they're the big winners of 1/3 of the record-setting jackpot. ABC's Karen Travers reports they're allowed under state law to remain anonymous, but lotto officials painted a picture of who these winners are.
They call themselves the Three Amigos, the lucky trio from Maryland who hit the Mega Millions jackpot.
They were, I think, humbled by this stroke of luck that they've received. I think at times they were a bit overwhelmed.
All 3 are public school employees, a woman in her 20s, a man in his 40s, and a woman in her 50s. They all work multiple jobs. One woman told lotto officials she prayed in church for help with her bills.
If it can't be you, these are precisely the people that you would want to see win the lottery.
Officials said all 3 plan to stay in their jobs, but they also have some other big plans.
They hope to take a backpacking trip through Europe.
So what about Merlanda Wilson? She's the Maryland McDonald's worker who claimed she had the winning ticket, but hid it and then couldn't find it.
They had been kind of privately laughing among themselves and maybe texting back and forth that, other people were claiming to have the ticket when in fact they knew where the ticket was.
There were 3 winning tickets for last month's record-setting $656 million Mega Millions jackpot. One of those tickets was purchased in tiny Ottawa, Kansas.
Kansas law allows the person to remain anonymous.
The 3rd winner still hasn't come forward. The winning ticket was purchased in Illinois, and state law there requires winners to go public, which means that someday soon we may be seeing the smiling face of a brand new millionaire. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
One of the winners works 2 full-time jobs, another has a part-time job, and a third has 2 part-time jobs. Police arrested a woman for child neglect after driving drunk with her 3 kids in a backseat in southwest Gainesville. Myra Flowers hit a pole at a gas station, then drove to the Red Roof Inn on Archer. Flowers said she and her husband were fighting, which is why she was at the hotel. The clerk at the hotel said Flowers' 10-year-old daughter had to sign the receipt at check-in. The children's aunt picked them up right before Flowers was arrested. And now it's time to take a first look at the weather. Mike, it was a beautiful, crystal clear day outside. Smelled a little smoke,
yes.
but
a bit of smoke, yeah.
But a beautiful day going on.
Pretty day across the area. Coolish this morning, first thing. We've had plenty of sun, but yes, indeed, we still have a little bit of smoke still lingering across the area, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Winds have been very light this morning. I think we'll see a little bit more of a westerly breeze developing later on, and then we'll probably push a little bit more of it easterly towards the East Coast a little bit later on today. Let's go check what's going on.
The Martin case is heating up. 6 shots have been fired into a cop car right near where George Zimmerman lived. We're hearing for the first time from him, breaking his silence through his own website to get his side of the story. ABC's Matt Gumman is in Sanford with the latest.
For the first time, George Zimmerman is speaking out online, writing on this website that attention from the public and media have forced him to, quote, leave my home, my school, my employer, my family, and ultimately my entire life. The new website, which his attorney tells ABC News is legitimate, includes Zimmerman's only public comments on the February 26th shooting of Trayvon Martin, which he calls a life-altering event. But the site's main purpose? To solicit donations to pay for Zimmerman's, quote, living expenses and legal defense, even providing this link to a PayPal account. The site drew so much traffic overnight, it constantly crashed. At one point, it included these 2 photographs. One, a poster reading, Justice for Zimmerman, the other, graffiti, Long Live Zimmerman, originally spray-painted on a black cultural center at Ohio State University. The website went public Monday after the special prosecutor in the case announced she was calling off a grand jury originally to be impaneled to investigate possible charges.
She intends to go ahead with the case, file an information, have him arrested, and demand a trial.
Prosecutor Angela Corey can now charge Zimmerman on her own. Sources say that may happen within days.
Sound of Trayvon! Sound of justice!
And in downtown Sanford, protesters shut down the Sanford Police Department most of Monday as fear of racial unrest continues to swirl.
Are we a kindling box? Sure, but we're working down a path, and so far it has been absolutely peaceful.
And by sidestepping the grand jury, the special prosecutor can no longer pursue first-degree murder charges, although analysts tell us she will probably go for manslaughter charges. Matt Gutman, ABC News, Sanford, Florida.
Zimmerman is at the center of an investigation over the shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman says he shot Martin in self-defense after following him in a gated community on February 26th. City leaders in Archer say it's not just an economic issue, but also a health issue that needs to be addressed. Their septic tank system needs to be eliminated. Many feel it's killing the city. Mayor Frank Ogborn says his city needs a sewer system. The city has committed $700,000 of taxpayer money for plans to build one, but they still need more help before any shovels hit the ground.
I would like to see the county help us with some infrastructure.
But county leaders have been historically reluctant to help out. A 2006 plan to extend a sewage line from Archer to from a GRU treatment facility was defeated because commissioners wanted to limit development along the line. And late last year, Alachua County commissioners denied the city's request for $78,000, money that would be used on a sewer study. Ogborn says commissioners will be pursuing more federal funding for the project, and they're working to get their EPA grant increased. The FCAT begins in less than a week in Alachua County, and officials say this is the first year everyone will be affected. Alachua County School Board officials say schools, students, teachers will feel the impact. School officials say the state has made the test tougher. It's called FCAT 2.0. The state officials also raised the passing score. Officials say if a child fails the FCAT, they will not move on to the next grade level, and they will not be able to take electives. And the child's teacher could also be either rewarded or penalized based on the child's score.
It's not like most teachers, they overreact about it.
I'm kind of afraid because I've never taken it before. And I'm kind of nervous about it.
School officials say they don't teach the test. They say it will make it harder for schools to earn higher scores. It's a salute to veterans. The state is doing away with business license fees for people who served in the military. A bill Governor Rick Scott signed Friday eliminates licensing fees for 24 months after a service member has been honorably discharged. Ken Lawson, Secretary of the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, says eliminating the fees is the state's way of saying thank you.
We are so proud of our veterans, our people who have served in the military honorably. And this is a way for the governor to say, come to Florida after you're done with your career. Establish a business here. Be part of our economy, and we want you to know that we support you and we believe in you.
The program goes into effect October 1st. This morning, for the first time, we are hearing the panicked emergency calls just seconds after that fiery jet crash in Virginia Beach on Friday. ABC's David Curley brings us the tapes and the latest on the investigation.
The drama of an F-18 crashing into an apartment complex.
The apartment building is completely destroyed.
Punctuated by these newly released 911 calls.
A jet just hit an apartment complex on Burtneck Road. I see the smoke and stuff right now, sir.
The pilot did bail out, I saw it, but it hit the apartment complex.
And listen to the first responders.
Find the pilots. All right, supposedly there was 2 shoots. So if you coordinate with police trying to find the pilots and then get them treated.
All of a sudden, those pilots start showing up in residents' backyards.
The pilot is on your patio? Yes, and nobody's here.
This morning, those 2 pilots are out of the hospital, and injuries to 5 civilians were minor. Remarkably, considering nearly 50 apartments were destroyed, no one was killed. Now investigators are poring over the crash site, recovering the black box, removing the wings and parts of the fuselage. But those 2 big engines under the iconic V-tail of the Hornet will remain until specialists can take a look, trying to figure out why this jet fell out of the sky.
David Curley, ABC News, Washington.
Residents of a Virginia apartment complex whose homes were damaged or destroyed in the crash last week have started picking up government checks to help pay for food, clothing, and housing over the next couple of weeks. A motorcyclist in Marion County was killed in an accident yesterday. State troopers tell us 21-year-old Eric Lacena from Bellevue was driving east on Southeast 112th Street Road. Another driver, 52-year-old Diana DeComply, was heading the other way, trying to make a left-hand turn in a Honda Civic. The two vehicles collided and Lacena was thrown from his bike. He was taken to Shands at UF, where he later died from his injuries. DeComply wasn't hurt in the crash, which is under investigation. A 6-year-old boy was killed in an accidental shooting in Maryland. Police say the boy found a loaded gun in a backpack while at his grandmother's house. The child was taken to the hospital, but he also died from his injuries. The gun reportedly belonged to a man living in the house, but not related to the child. Police are now investigating, and the state's attorney's office will decide if prosecution is appropriate. A new warning this afternoon about dental x-rays. A study published in the journal Cancer shows a link between frequent x-rays and developing a certain brain tumor called meningioma. Researchers found patients who had bite wing x-rays at least once a year had a 40 to 90% chance of getting the tumor. They say this doesn't mean you should stop going to the dentist, nor does it prove that x-rays cause tumors. They say annual x-rays put you at a greater risk. The American Dental Association guidelines say healthy adults without cavities should get a dental x-ray every 2 or 3 years. Meningiomas are the most frequently diagnosed brain tumor among adults. And did you ever think a 7th grader could ever be a hero? Well, one saved the day from a bus driver who was suffering from a heart attack. We'll have that story when we come back.
Now from your local source, TV 20 News at noon in high definition.
Welcome back. A 7th grader is now known as a hero after his school bus driver had a heart attack behind the wheel. The boy jumped into action, grabbing the wheel, and saved the day. As ABC's Abby Boudreau reports, he may be inspired by a book.
Call him the 7th grade's newest superhero. Watch, in just a matter of seconds, Jeremy Whitchick, on his way to school in Milton, Washington,
Oh my gosh!
stops a speeding bus in a single bound.
Oh my god!
Whitchick's bus driver appeared to be having a heart attack.
He's out of condition.
Yeah, he looked like he was having a seizure or choking because he was going. I was reading a book about these superheroes, and this guy was in a bus, and he was talking on his walkie-talkie, and the guy was telling him to turn the ignition off. So I just went up, grabbed the wheel, turned it right.
With the help of another boy, Whitchick steers the bus off the road as other terrified students call for help.
I was just acting on instinct. It was like all happening really quickly.
That's when you see Jeremy start pounding on the driver's chest.
I don't know how to do CPR. Shut up! My bus driver, he just like passed out and like I'm right in front of the school.
School administrator John McCrossan happened to be driving behind the bus when he saw it veer onto the curb. He raced onto the bus and performed CPR.
Come on, baby, breathe.
Reviving the driver.
Oh, you go. All right, good.
I am incredibly proud of Jeremy. Very. I always have been, but I'm especially so today.
And while Whitchick and his fellow students don't call themselves heroes, this morning it's obvious they did something pretty super. Abby Boudreau, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Amazing story. The bus driver didn't hit any other vehicles and no one was injured. It's crystal blue skies, but how long will that last? Meteorologist Mike Potter will have your forecast on TV 20 News at noon. Stay with us. Here are some of the stories we're working on for 5:30 and 6 in Ocala. The Heather Strong murder trial will have details on that. And in GPD and ASO are raising funds for the Special Olympic Torch Run. Plus, we get an update on Majestic Oaks fire. See how the victims are coping since they lost their homes. Those stories, sports, and weather tonight on TV 20 News, starting with 5:30 live. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's Diana Alvear with the Showbiz Wrap.
Bad news for Alec Baldwin. His stalker is back. A Canadian actress is jailed and charged with aggravated harassment and stalking after showing up at the 30 Rock star's New York City apartment. Police say the woman has visited 3 of Baldwin's properties in New York and sent him several emails and texts. There's a new king of Broadway. According to the latest box office numbers, The Lion King is now the all-time highest grossing show. It stole the crown from The Phantom of the Opera. Lamar Odom and Khloe Kardashian may be saying goodbye to Dallas. After only 4 months of playing for the Dallas Mavericks, the former Laker says he and the team have agreed to part ways. Odom will be listed as inactive for the rest of the season and may be traded when the season ends. Finally, it's officially over for Heidi Klum and Seal. After nearly 3 months of separation, the Project Runway star has formally filed for divorce, putting an end to 7 years of marriage. The two say their 4 children together remain their top priority. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Diana Alviar, ABC News.
And here's a final look at the weather with Mike Potter. Clear blue skies, no rain, unfortunately, but
yes, we definitely need rain, and that would help things out quite a bit. And well, let's go check what's going on. If we can't have the rain, pleasant afternoon, not a bad thing. Temps mid to upper 70s for much of the area, some 80s popping up here and there. Ocala, Perry at 81 right now. You can see on the visible satellite picture that little plume of smoke coming from the fire in northern Columbia County is heading southward into Alachua and Gilchrist County, so you may smell some smoke this afternoon. Basically, the wind's shifting around a little bit later on today and tomorrow, but it looks like our temps begin to cool off again and we begin to dry things out even more, so chances of rain staying very slim.
All righty, thanks. That's all the time we have. Bye-bye.